In a last-ditch effort to try and save himself, Gary Anandasangari has said his comments on the gun buyback program were misguided.
Benzie, I'll start with you. We got an extended statement from the office of Minister Anandasangari essentially saying, I make a point to speak with Canadians who don't support our approach, to listen to their concerns, and to ensure they understand their options in this voluntary buyback program. In trying to address this individual's frustrations, my comments were misguided. He then goes on to reiterate the government's and his own support for the program. Your thoughts on, is this minister's days numbered in this portfolio, do you think?
I think they are. My colleague Mark Ramsey broke this story this morning, Vashi, and when I saw Mark's report, I thought, Gary is a mixture of Inspector Clouseau and Mr. Magoo. I'm going to date myself with those ancient references, but he is the minister who literally can't shoot straight. I'm astounded he's still on the job. He's accident prone, gaffe prone. And this is really embarrassing when he's telling his tenant, who's also his friend by the sound of the conversation on the weekend, that he'll personally reimburse him for the cost of the gun if need be. I guess he's a good landlord, but I'm not really sure that's how government ministers should behave. I'm astounded that Prime Minister Carney I'm surprised he stuck with him this far, Vashi, but I cannot see them sticking with him too much longer, especially when a lot of what he said, Pierre Poilievre is not wrong. That is the truth. Why is the government doing this? Because it does sell well in Quebec. And I think that's Gary's not wrong, but Pierre Poilievre is correct. When you tell the truth like that and you're caught, boy, it's hard to come back from it.
We did reach out, Tom, to the Prime Minister's office to see if they had anything to add or wanted to say anything about the minister's future in that portfolio, and they said that they just referred us to the statement from the minister's office. Your thoughts on the way this is going down and the significance of it happening around this program in particular, which has always been, kind of fraught with issues?
Yeah, I agree with most of what Benzie just said, but I will take a very strong disagreement with both what Gary Anandasangari said and what Robert Benzie just said about Quebec. Quebec is the only province in Canada that has a gun registry.
Yeah, that's true.
It was saved after it was scuppered by the Conservatives under Stephen Harper across the country. Lo and behold, there was a copy that existed. And under Philippe Couillard, Quebec was able to keep that gun registry, and that's what people cared about. I have to tell you, it sounds like total malarkey. Blame it on Quebec. I've never, ever seen or heard any orchestrated, organized push about this buyback program in Quebec, because the most important thing, which is making sure that, when a police officer goes to a signaling of a domestic dispute in a rural area, they know whether or not there are guns behind the door. Now, they're going to be careful in any event, but boy, does that ever give them a leg up to have that information, and Quebec's the only place where they have it. So that's the part, honestly, that really bugged me, because I know Gary. I got a chance to travel with him once, and he's just such a gentleman. But this is lousy politics, because he's trying to scapegoat another province on something, and it literally, Vashi, it's a non-issue in the province of Quebec, because the main issue, the registry, has been taken care of. So on that score, there I agree with Benzie. Bye-bye, Gary. There's no way that somebody who can say stuff like that gets to stick around.
And there you have it. It's unanimous across the board. His days are numbered, and bye-bye, Gary. These are phrases I did not expect to hear coming from mainstream media, might I add. He has royally screwed up, and the fact that they have video evidence of it's over for him.
Well, Brian, the program is supposedly, according to this leaked audio, also like a new pilot, and there have been other pilots going to be launched this week. It's maybe not the issue in Quebec that Minister Anandasangari makes it out to be, but it is an issue in lots of rural parts of the country where they didn't like the way that this all unfolded, and they felt worried. There are police forces now who have said that they won't enforce it. If your public safety minister is on the record, essentially, not through his own choice, but otherwise, as saying he doesn't fully endorse the program, can he sell it?
Yeah, it'd be pretty difficult to do that, wouldn't it? I think that's the big issue here, and giving any sort of reason as to why such a policy is being put in place that it's politically driven is the real problem. I'll leave it to Tom and his analysis in Quebec, certainly he's on the ground there. So whether he's right in his political analysis or not, I don't think that really matters. I think what matters is the fact that he's not defending it in this closed meeting. And to your point, that certainly undermines his ability to do it publicly moving forward. So, look, I think if they wanted to get rid of him, they might have done it already today. Maybe they're going to see how this goes, and if it lasts long, they may also tell themselves, look, this is one policy issue, a big one, don't get me wrong, but one policy issue amongst many others. If he can sort of hopefully, from their point of view, be able to navigate the next few days with the pilot announcement that was referenced in this story, then maybe they'll give him a shot. I don't know that. I'm just trying to sort of sense what they might be thinking in that office at the moment. But yeah, to your point, it becomes very difficult. And look, people, I think, want to be able to talk to politicians and be able to say their things, and they want to hear what the person really thinks. But if you don't really support one of the key programs, then there's a real problem, right? And I think if it's to the point that maybe you're a little agnostic on a program, or maybe it's not something you would have done exactly like that, that happens. That happens to all ministers. It happens to prime ministers and premiers too, by the way. But you still have to be on board with defending it, especially when it's something that had been in the public eye for so long. So that's certainly a tough spot to be in for him moving forward.
Yeah, and just so that for full transparency, like what was reported by Rob's colleagues, Lisa, wasn't, I can understand certainly if he had gone, like Brian says, it's a great point, and said, like, I understand your concerns, I even sympathize with some of them, I'm going to bring them back and make sure that I raise them, but this is the program as it is. Like, he said things like, I also don't understand the logic. Like Rob pointed out, he offered to pay the difference himself to the tenant. Like, there are some pretty specific, more incriminating things than just saying, like, I hear you, man.
Yeah, what makes this whole thing lethal to his career and continuation as a cabinet minister is that he breached cabinet confidentiality, cabinet cohesion, cabinet solidarity. Once a decision is made in the cabinet, that's it. If you try to go against it and you lost, well, you lost, but you still have to carry the message out there. What I find interesting, though, is, in the past, I guess what would have happened in other governments is that the individual who got caught like this would offer their resignation to the prime minister, and the prime minister would say yes or no. At the beginning of my career, you may have noticed that happened a lot, quite frankly. Luckily, Stephen Harper did not take my resignation the times that I had to give it over. All that being said, it is in the hands of the prime minister now. It won't be forgotten. When there is a shuffle, I think Gary is going to be moved somewhere else. And the other part, too, Vashi, to remember is there's an awful lot of backbenchers who are saying, I could do much better in that job. Give me a chance, boss. Put me in.
I remember when Mark Carney came out and defended him over the Tamil Tiger situation. I don't think there's any way he can come out and defend him over this one. Anyway, I would like to know what you think down in the comments section below, and have a good one.